If you would have told me 5 years ago that I was gonna end up marrying my brother's best friend, I literally would have laughed in your face. I wanna tell you the uncut, untold version of how I manifested Ahmed, my husband. And no, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that the way to manifest the love of your life is to just stop thinking about them. Let me get into this story time. What's up, little sis? You are now tuned in to another Arab and Thriving video. I'm your host, Rima, and without further ado, I wanna tell you the story of how I actually manifested Ahmed. I need to start from like way back, okay? Because we had always known each other, but had no idea that we were gonna end up together. So let's rewind. My brother is 5 years older than me, and he went to the University of Minnesota for college. My brother and I were super close. We would be on the phone pretty much every day while he was in college. I was still in high school. I would always see on Facebook all of his friends, and one of his friends, his name was ATM Lifestyle, and I'm like, ew, like, okay, who is this guy? I just kind of thought he was a little bit annoying. He was a little bit feeling himself, okay? So I wasn't completely wrong with my judgments, even though they were judgments. In the meantime, I'm in high school. I'm this cute little high school girl living my best life. So we're gonna fast forward now. I eventually applied to the University of Michigan. I get in. I'm at the University of Michigan. A billion things happen in between. While I was in college and right when I graduated, there was this period of time where my brother and I were both in Michigan at the same time. And my brother was moving to LA. And he hit up his friend Ahmad and he was like, I know you're in LA, because Ahmad was in LA at this point. Where should I live? And then Ahmad was just like, why don't we just get a place together? Like, we'll be roommates. And so my brother and Ahmad moved in together into West Hollywood. Now, I hadn't met Ahmad personally at this point, but he'd always kind of been in conversations just by virtue of him being my brother's best friend and then also my brother's roommate. My mom and I and my sister, we would occasionally go and visit my brother in LA. Every time I met Ahmad, there was just this vibe where, this is gonna sound so weird, but I just need to be real with you guys. He was my brother's best friend, so the vibe really was kind of like, he's my annoying older brother. Obviously, that's not the vibe anymore now that we're married and now that I'm grown. But at the time, I was in my early 20s, he's in his later 20s. We would just kind of pick on each other, and a lot of people will be like,
oh, you guys obviously liked each other. You guys were obviously flirting.
We really weren't. I genuinely was not interested in him. He was not looking at me like that. That's his best friend's sister. Like, there was no intimate vibe between us at that time. So we would just bicker a lot. And it got to a point where my brother Ali had to tell me, yo, I need you to calm down. Like, stop being so mean to him. You're always mean to him. And I was just like, I'm not that mean to him. He just has a really big head and he needs to calm down. First of all, Arab guys like mean girls, but that's not why I was being mean. Second of all, Ahmed was an actor. That's why he was in LA. He's pursuing Hollywood. He has all these videos of him acting. And I just felt like he probably was big-headed. So I felt like it was my personal responsibility to like deflate his ego a little bit, which was I was a little bit mean, but whatever. So anyway, for years, I was Ali's like annoying, mean little sister, and he was my brother's obnoxious, loud, big-headed best friend. Fast forward to the year 2019/2020, because it was towards the end of the year. At this point in my life, I have gone through relationships, breakups, toxic exes. From around 2017 to 2019/2020, I'm really in my single solitude bag. I still was talking to people here and there, but I genuinely was obsessed with my alone time. I think what was really, really distinct about this period of time before I manifested Ahmed as my husband, not as my brother's annoying friend, was I genuinely was okay being alone. Like, I loved being alone. I had my childhood home to myself. My mom moved to Lebanon. My dad had passed away a little bit before that. Everyone lived somewhere else. And so I was living in Michigan at home, going to Michigan for business school. So I was driving back and forth between my childhood home, like 45 minutes away. You know, business school is super demanding. I was also starting a business at that time and running the Dearborn Girl podcast, which was a podcast in my hometown. So I was just super involved and out and about and just very busy. My social life was probably at an all-time high because between my friends in Dearborn and my friends in B school, I had a lot of like social events that I was constantly going to. But I would always come home to myself and just cherish the quietness and the solitude. This is the part that I've never told anybody. And I want to be so real with you guys. That's why I'm telling you. The summer of 2019, I was in New York for my internship, and I ended up meeting someone who was in this program who was also in business school at a different business school. So I ended up meeting this person that summer and we started talking. And I really liked this guy, but I just knew in my heart and in my soul that he was not my husband. And I would have this joking thing that I would say, like, even when I would meet people in business school or out and about during that period of my life, if you're not my husband, I don't want to talk to you. There was even a point in time where I was flirting with this one guy and we went on one date. After we started texting for a little, I realized he wasn't my husband. I'm like, it's not, this isn't it. And I literally saved him in my phone as not my husband in huge letters, okay? That was how devoted I was to not wasting my time. And it was really just my reminder that there's nothing missing with myself. Like, I don't need to fill this gap. I don't need to fill this void. And I think it was a really, really, really important reminder, because as women, I think we're taught from such a young age that the thing that we should look the most forward to in life is ultimately finding our husband. And maybe you clicked on this video because you believe that still. Maybe there's a part of you that thinks that your life doesn't start until you find your person. And I want to reject that on every level. If there's anything that you get from me, it's me really showing, not just through my words, but as an example of someone who is now married and happily married, that my life didn't start with Ahmad. The reason I attracted Ahmad was because my life started before Ahmad. And I allowed my life to be great and beautiful and wonderful before I knew that I was gonna find somebody. Anyway, that was just a little detour. I started talking to someone. I really liked him. We hung out while I was in New York. He was in a B school in a different state, but we kept in touch and we're kind of doing this long distance thing. But I would never make it exclusive. Like, I wouldn't let him call me his girlfriend. I wouldn't call him my boyfriend. It was kind of messed up. Like, honestly, when I look back on it, I was using this person. They were using me too. At the end of the day, relationships, you guys are both kind of using each other for companionship. I wanted someone to share my thoughts and ideas with, but I knew that this person wasn't the one. And even though I was extremely honest with them from the beginning, like from the beginning of time, I kept explaining. Every time he would try to take things to the next level, I would tell him, like, you're just not it. I know you're not it. And if at any point you decide you want to stop talking, I completely understand. But I think men sometimes, they really don't listen to what women say. And rightfully so, he's watching what I'm doing. I'm talking to him every day. I don't think he realized how serious I was that he wasn't my husband. So it got to a point where I think we both realized, like, what are we doing? We stopped talking completely. This was in like October of 2019. In the meantime, you know, I did miss him. I was sad, but I understood that, like, why waste each other's time? We didn't talk at all for months. And then I think it was around Christmas, New Year's, where he hit me up, like, wishing me a happy new year. And so I started talking to him again, and we kind of started talking again for a couple weeks. And I remember during that couple weeks of time feeling so uneasy. Like, why am I doing this again? I know this is the wrong person. I know that I'm just wasting this person's time. I know that I shouldn't be talking to this person. Now, in the meantime, what happened in January of 2020, my brother was getting married. He was having like a katibik. It's like a Muslim marriage ceremony where it tends to be a little bit more small and intimate, but he invited his closest friends, including Ahmad, to this ceremony that was taking place in Michigan. So I was telling my brother, just to help with the event, that I would coordinate all his friends' situations. So not just Ahmad, but a couple other friends that were coming into town. So with Ahmad, he was staying at our house. The other friends got a hotel, but Ahmad was staying at our house. So I get this WhatsApp message from Ahmad weeks before the event. He's like, hey, I just want to talk to you because, like, I don't want to bother your brother leading up to the event. So are you going to pick me up from the airport? I'm like, yeah, I already told Ali I'm picking you up from the airport. He's like, okay, cool. I'm like, send me your flight so I can track it. He sends me his flight. And then we're kind of bickering a little where I'm like, I'm so not looking forward to this guy staying over the weekend, but whatever. I need to be nice because this is my brother's wedding, and the least that I could do is be hospitable, a nice little hospitable Arab girl to his guests. So the day comes where I go to pick up Ahmed from the airport. Me and my friends had plans to go out to eat that night. And so I had texted Ahmed just to be nice, like, hey, do you want to just come with us that night? Like, I'm not gonna leave him at my house just staring at the wall. So he's like, yeah, let's do it. Love that, whatever. Drive to the airport, pick him up. We actually had a really good conversation on that drive. And in my mind, I'm like, oh, I don't like hate this guy. He's not the worst. It's cool. I've never actually had like a real conversation with him. And then we pull up to the restaurant to hang out with our friends. And I'm over here like a little bit anxious because I bring a lot of people together, like my past life. I'm kind of introverted now, but I used to always bring a lot of people together, and it would kind of make me anxious to know whether the dynamics were gonna work well. And because Ahmed's social media presence, he just seems so loud and rambunctious and obnoxious, I was worried about how he would get along with the other people that were there. But when we got there, he was just so quiet. Like, he was chill, quiet, laid back. I kept wondering, like, is there something wrong with him? Is he upset? Did something bother him? Come to find out, like, that's his real personality, okay? His real personality is to just be like really fun and laid back and chill and like easygoing, not high maintenance, not annoying, not self-centered, what I thought he was. So I remember just having this like moment, like, huh, he's not that bad. Like I don't dislike this guy. That weekend we hang out, we're just like vibing with the family, and so many times, so many members of my family, like my cousins, even my oldest brother at one point is just like, you guys need to start talking. And anytime people try to push something on me, I'm very rebellious. I will push it away. No, I don't know. And I was not looking at him that way at all. However, there was this one moment, I'm not gonna lie to you, when I went upstairs to my room. We had all gotten home from like this event. Everyone was chilling. I was organizing this like game night for all the friends and guests that came in, and I went upstairs and I was putting my pajamas on, and I was wearing these like ugly house pajamas, you know? And I remember looking in the mirror like, why am I looking ugly? I should look cute. And then I like snapped out of it, like, why should I look cute? For who? Who am I trying to look cute for? Definitely not Ahmad. Definitely not my family. So why are you trying to look cute, Rima? So it was like that moment, like, I'm onto you. Like, you're trying to look cute for him for what? Like, you don't even like him. And I ended up forcing myself to look even uglier because I'm like, no, like, absolutely not. Under no circumstances am I trying to look cute for this man. So we go downstairs, we have our game night, things are cool, whatever. So the wedding was cool, the vibes were cool, nothing really happened at that point, and I was supposed to take him to the airport. But then the morning that he was leaving, I was actually supposed to be going to DC that day. I needed to change my flight. So he called Delta Airlines, and I still have the clip of it where he pretends to be my boyfriend. He's calling Delta and he's like, yeah, my girlfriend, like, we're here with her parents, and you know, I want to change her flight. She needs to push it by a day. And he literally changed my flight. And not only is that ironic because we weren't together at all, but we ended up being together, but we also both always fly Delta Airlines now, and he is constantly the person changing my flights 24/7. It was just so funny that that was one moment that would turn into literally a lifetime of Ahmad changing my flights. But anyway, that happened, and then I was dropping him off to the terminal to get on his flight. So we pull up to the Delta terminal, and I'm like, okay, bye. Like, I was about to go to the gym after dropping him off, so I'm like, okay, this guy needs to get out of my car. And he just like stops and doesn't do anything and just kind of looks at me. And I swear to you, I had a mini panic attack thinking that he was gonna try to lean in for something. Okay, and I'm just not that girl. Like, that's not gonna happen. It especially complicates things knowing you're my brother's best friend. So what? Like, this is not what we're doing. He obviously didn't lean in for anything, but it was just me being anxious that that's what he was doing, because the vibe immediately changed in the car. Like, there was this immediate vibe that he didn't want to leave. So I like lean in and hug him. I'm like, okay, bye. Like, basically like, get out of my car. So he says bye, he gets out. Now from his side of the story, that day was a little bit different for him because apparently he saw me come down the stairs and my hair was down and I was getting ready to go to the gym, and I was still being really mean to him. He was like, oh, are you dropping me off to the airport? I'm like, no. But I was messing around because I was dropping him off to the airport, and he got like visibly sad that I wasn't taking him before he realized I was just joking. And apparently, according to him, seeing me walk down the stairs, that was the moment that he felt something, like things changed for him. I had no idea. Again, all I sensed was that weird car moment. But according to him, after he got out of the car, he called up his sister and he was telling her that he likes me and like he's interested in me. And so in the days after that, he kept texting me. Like, he literally kept texting me all day, every day. And so after like day 2 or 3 of him nonstop texting me, I literally called him out and I was like, do you like me? And he FaceTimes me and tells me everything, like how he feels about me. I'm literally everything that he wants in a woman. And I was truly speechless. And I'm never speechless. Like, if you've been on this channel and if you've watched my stuff, like, I always have something to say. Talking is kind of my thing. But I truly was speechless. Like, I didn't know what to say because he just poured everything out there. So immediately that day, because I felt so guilty, even though I wasn't in a relationship with Ahmed and I wasn't even in a relationship with that other person, we were just talking, I still felt like I was doing something wrong. And I literally started to feel sick. I ended up ending things and cutting things off with that person. And they kind of got it because it was like, we weren't supposed to be talking anyway. We restarted something that should have never been restarted. But the reason I'm telling you this is because I think a lot of people come from this perspective of like, things were perfect and I wasn't looking for anything. and then my person found me. And yeah, that kind of was the case. Like, I wasn't looking for anything with Ahmed. I wasn't trying to pursue Ahmed. I wasn't interested in him. Yes, I kind of was occupied because I was talking to someone during that time. But I think the more important point is that I was in a space where I wanted something serious. I was ready for something serious, but I wasn't thirsty for anything at all. I didn't feel like I needed it to happen. I didn't feel like I was on this time crunch where I needed my person to come and find me. And I think because I loved my alone time so much and I truly cherished who I was becoming in the time that I was spending with myself, I wasn't sitting around waiting for someone to start my life for me. I was living my life. I was cherishing my moments at home. Every night I would go home and I would literally just feel so grateful for the quiet and knowing that my life would never, ever, ever be that quiet again. Knowing that even when I did find an amazing man and start an amazing family one day, things would be great, but I was gonna miss some parts of that solitude. So yes, like Ahmed and I started talking from there on out. We moved pretty quickly because we'd known each other for so long and because both of us were so ready at that point. Like, it was no games, no BS, no waiting for him to text me, no waiting for him to call me. Like, everything was very straightforward and just like mature, which is what I really appreciated about our process. We ended up getting married in July of 2021 and we've been married for going on 3 years now, living in LA. But the second I found someone who I felt was as serious as I was and was as aligned in values as I was, things moved pretty quickly. And so the process of quote unquote manifesting him, even though I'd already known him, to me is such a testament to what I was magnetic to. And I think that's the key that people don't talk about enough in manifestation is the things that you're attracting, whether you want to believe it or not, are telling of who you are being in that moment. If you are attracting trash men over and over, it's telling of what you're magnetizing. You're magnetizing unpredictability. You're a magnet for inconsistency. You're a magnet for someone that's making you question your worth. You're a magnet for someone that doesn't think you're worthy of committing to. And as much as it might hurt or even be offensive in some cases for people to accept that they are magnetizing that, I want you to know that the second you realize that you're attracting who you are being, the second you can switch on and be a more active curator of what that looks like, instead of like a passive victim and someone who just doesn't know why things are working out in their life the way that they are. Who was I being at the time where Ahmed and I started actually seeing each other differently? I was someone who was very grounded in herself. I loved myself. I still love myself. And every time we're away for a weekend or however long, I look forward to that alone time because I don't see the alone time as a sad condition that I'm forced to be in. I see it as an opportunity that I'm grateful for, time that I might not ever get back with myself. Number two, I was not thirsty. I was not desperate. And this looks like several different things, to be honest. Like, even if you have high standards for a man, if you think that your time is limited, you are desperate. I'm sorry. I just need to tell you that how it is. Especially a lot of women, they let people put these time constraints on them. And so even though you were raised with high standards and you want this amazing man, as you should, if you think that your clock is ticking, you are gonna settle. If you think that your clock is ticking, you are gonna turn a frog into a prince when he has no business being treated that way. Because you're gonna wanna see someone who's mediocre as someone great so that you can feel like you're not settling. The second you start to see your alone time and your identity and your solitude and your space as something sacred is the second you free yourself from this BS time situation that other people try to force you into. Being single is not something you need to escape. It's something you need to cherish until you're ready to share that space with someone else, until someone else is lucky enough to be graced by your presence. That's who I was being. So when I attracted someone to me, I attracted somebody who by default saw me for how valuable I really was. I attracted someone who never wanted to dim my light, but who actually was excited about what I brought to the table because I took so much pride in what I brought to the table. I didn't look at my independence and even my intimidation as something that I needed to apologize for. I looked at that as something someone needed to get with or get lost. Like, if you can't get with it, truly get lost. And that's how I was treating people from my past who tried to make me feel like I needed to do anything to change who I was in order to be worthy of them. No, I needed to be so unapologetically who I am, and whoever is right for me will see that and be even more attracted to that. And that is truly how I manifested him. I don't want you to take away from this story like,
"Oh, I need to have a brother with a roommate. I need to be in the right place at the right time."
stop giving your power away to these random things and instead focus on what kind of magnet you want to be. What do I want to be like? How do I want to be like in a relationship? How can I really think about who I want to show up as so that by default, the things that I attract, and even more importantly, the things that I detract and just weed out, are going to be responding to who I am being? How can I focus so much on what it looks like to be a magnet so that by default, I can attract the right things and detract, please detract all of the wrong things that are meant to just distract me and take away from me? That is really the biggest flex, is understanding that the power is in your hands to take pride in your space, in your energy, in your solitude. Start to watch how certain opportunities, it's not just relationships, certain thoughts that you have, certain things just start kind of coming into your world that you may not have been privy to before, because your energy has truly evolved to accommodate those things and to create space for those things. Everything changed for me even after Ahmad and I met, when I started giving God room to surprise me. I was someone who was obsessed with predicting things. I wanted to know exactly what the guy was like that I ended up with. I wanted to know exactly how it was going to happen. I wanted to plan out how long we would talk before we got married, how long we would be married before we had kids. I was obsessed with predicting outcomes, and I realized I was taking all of the sexiness out of the freaking relationship. So when Ahmed and I first met, things weren't the way that I thought they were supposed to be. I was literally talking to someone else. I was enjoying my time alone. I didn't even know if I was ready for him. I didn't even know if he was the right person from the beginning. I just knew I kept wanting to talk to him. And I remember feeling so unsettled about the fact that I wasn't 100% sure about him early on. And I'll do a whole other video on the whole when you know, because I rebuke that. I didn't know. I'm gonna be real with you. It wasn't a when you know situation for me. It was for Ahmed. It wasn't for me. And that gave me a lot of anxiety, because I was like, all I know is I want to keep talking to him today. I don't know how I'm gonna feel tomorrow. And that was giving me so much anxiety. But I realized that God was surprising me so much in my life, and the things that I was asking for were showing up in ways that were even better than how I'd imagined them. But because I was so attached to them playing out a certain way, I wasn't even seeing that they were playing out better for me. So it was like halfway through the relationship where I was able to really let go and just let God continue to surprise and delight me, because he was doing more for me in my life than I could have ever even imagined. I want you to think about that. Yes, write in your journal and manifest. By all means, write a list of what you want him to look like and how you want your guy to show up. Feel free to visualize all sorts of things, but when it comes down to it, let go of those things. Let go of those visualizations. Let go of that crazy checklist, because what's in front of you might be so much better than what you imagined in your head. And I just want you to give that room. That doesn't mean settle. That means that if what is in front of you feels better than what you had imagined, then go with that, because obviously the whole point is to feel better. That's why we want a companion, is to bring love into our lives. That's why we want a healthy, stable relationship, is to feel like someone is dependable. So if he's not dependable in the way you imagine, but he's dependable in a way that's better, then you're winning. You don't need to be so attached and pretend that you're God, because at the end of the day, that gives God no room to play that role in our lives. You are the prize. Your life starts now, okay? It doesn't start when you find someone. It starts now. You have to have a life to be able to share it with someone else. You have to have amazing, beautiful thoughts and beliefs and things that you're working on and goals and aspirations and routines in order to be able to share that with someone else. Think of how much more beautiful your relationship will be when your relationship with yourself is already so fruitful and you have all of those things to be able to share with the person that you're meant to share it with. But until you find the person that you're meant to share it with, treat it like the sacred gem that it is. Let me know if you have any questions about this story or any of this. If you're someone who is single, you're in your single era and you're wanting to know how to make the most of it because it's such a beautifully valuable time, I would love to answer any questions that you have about this. I love you so much. And as always, stay powerful, my loves.